It's a beautiful Sunday, and it's Mother's Day, so naturally, we're heading inside to play and watch some Valorant. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Week 7 of VCT Americas, coming to you live from the Riot Games Arena, right here in Los Angeles, California. Where else would we possibly be? It's not like we can move the show overnight. Of course, I'm Golden Boy, joined by Sideshow, as well as Benita here once again. Benita, I'm glad you didn't run away after yesterday. I would have ran, personally. Glad to have you back.
Honestly, I was pretty nervous, but I'm feeling a lot better today.
Awesome.
I've got a question for both of you. Have you both spoken to your mothers today?
I did, actually.
I sent a text.
Did you speak to your mother?
No, because it's not Mother's Day in the UK, so she wouldn't be expecting anything.
Absolute monster.
The only day of the year I talk to my mother is Mother's Day in the UK. So I'm going to send her a message today.
And we learned a lot about Sideshow today, a terrible human being. But thankfully, all of these amazing moms make this show happen because of the kids that they have supported to come up to this point here. It's awesome, and we, of course, love all the mothers out there that are supporting their kids in esports and gaming. That being said, this week, it's North America versus South America in every single matchup. Now, let's go ahead and talk about what happened yesterday, because we kicked off Week 7. We had 100 Thieves going up against Furia. We were very excited, Sideshow, for this game, because we wanted to see what did 100 Thieves implement and improve. How is Furia going to bounce back? And what a game it was.
It was an insane game, actually. Yeah, Benita, you had faith in 100 Thieves the whole time.
I did.
The first two maps were very one-sided, just based on teams picking towards their opponent's weaknesses. But I really did not expect Haven to go the way it did. That Gecko comp worked perfectly for 100 Thieves.
As soon as util usage, just everything was so perfect. It was beautiful. It worked out great on Haven.
Yeah, and then we move on to Evil Geniuses as they look to take on MIBR. And this was one of the games where we needed to see MIBR, right? Bounce back, show some life, tell us that they are here to compete and possibly make a run. But it was Evil Geniuses' day. Sideshow. They looked stupendous, and they needed to look dominant. That's exactly what they did.
It was a flattening.
It was a flattening.
EG came out and they flattened them. They pancaked them. It was pancake day yesterday. It's Mother's Day today.
And I'm actually really disappointed that I didn't get any pancakes, Josh.
Okay.
You know, so can you please make me pancakes?
You're going to get less flat if you eat pancakes.
That is actually very true. But here, guys, there's only 8 matches left. Can you believe it? In this entire split. And of course, the playoff picture is still very much in flux. We have 4 spots that are going to be up for grabs. And as we see the standings here, we talked about it yesterday. With that MIBR, they are out of playoff contention alongside their colleagues at KRU Esports and the middle of the pack. Benita, in all of my years working in esports, I don't think I've ever seen a season this tight, this close before. So many 4-5s, 4-3s. Want to get your thoughts on it. How do you think the competition's been this year?
It's crazy. We are Week 7, and we just don't even know.
Yeah, we have no idea. Every other region has pretty much settled their teams, right? I believe so. I think EMEA's got 1 spot left. I think Pacific's got 2 spots left. We have 4. We have 4 spots, and we have 8 teams that are very much vying for that opportunity. It's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, it makes it still fun for us. But there's a couple of teams today that might end up slipping out, depending on how they perform.
Yeah, that's right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the schedule. I'm glad you mentioned that, Josh, because we have a critical matchup. It's Sentinels facing off against KRU. And then our second game of the day, El Clásico. It'll be Loud versus NRG. 2 teams that every time you see them play on that stage, you're always in for a treat. But here's the thing. I mentioned at the top of the show that it's Mother's Day, right? And we asked our players if they had any messages to share with their moms watching around the world. So let's go ahead and check it out.
Hi, Mom. I love you, as always. Thank you so much for the support. Kongtung, Mom. You appreciate it. Mwah, mwah.
Bueno, obviamente a mi madre que me ha apoyado desde el día 1, que si no fuera por ella no estaría donde estoy. Y eso, agradecerle por todo lo que me ha enseñado, cómo me ha criado. Me siento como orgulloso de mí mismo porque he aprendido mucho de ella. Y eso más que nada, le debo la vida entera, obviamente. Me ha hecho me crió para ser una muy buena persona y yo estoy muy agradecido en todo sentido, que la amo mucho y una de las personas más importantes de mi vida. A mi madre, Brenda, es que la amo mucho y nada, es increíble en todo sentido.
Desearle un muy feliz día a todas las madres. La mía en particular está un poco loca. viene a ver la competencia de playoff, si entramos a playoff dentro de unas semanas, así que va a estar acá, la van a conocer. Cuando vean a una mujer loca alentando por Leviatán en el medio de la hinchada, va a ser ella. Así que un saludo muy grande a todas las madres y gracias por apoyar a sus hijos. Sé que no es una carrera fácil, pero es una muy linda. Así que apóyenlos.
Bom, rapaziada, Dia das Mães chegando, então deixe muito claro o seu amor pela sua mãe, pela sua rainha. Te amo, mãe, e é isso, aproveitem elas.
Dá um feliz Dia das Mães para todas as mães e para minha mãe, Adriana, te amo.
Um feliz Dia das Mães, doutora Cláudia. Tô com muita saudade. Muito obrigado por me criar sozinha nesse mundo. Devo muita coisa a você, você é uma Porto Seguro, eu tô com muita saudade. Então, feliz Dia das Mães. Estou longe, mas estou perto, então te amo.
Passando um recado para todas as mães aí, não só do Brasil, mas como do mundo inteiro. Parabéns pelo seu dia, aproveitem bastante. E também deixar um recado especial para minha mãe, que me apoia muito no meu trajeto, na profissão. Eu sei que não foi fácil, sei que foi um moleque meio difícil no começo, mas te amo demais, então muito obrigado por todo o apoio, todo o carinho sempre.
Hey, happy Mother's Day, guys, and I want to do a special shout out to my own mom, who's probably watching this right now. Angie, happy Mother's Day. I love you.
Feliz Dia das Mães, né? Muito obrigado por deixarem os seus filhos e filhas jogarem Valorant. Não é à toa que eu estou jogando com crianças, em parte pelas mães que entendem que estamos tentando seguir um sono. E é isso, sou muito obrigado, espero que tenham um dia maravilhoso, que comprem comida deliciosa para vocês, que apreciem todo o esforço que vocês fazem e muitos beijos.
Primeiramente, né, desejar um Feliz Dia das Mães para minha mãe, que ela também vive me assistindo, não só para minha mãe, mas para meu pai também, que os dois assistem juntos. Dia 14 está chegando, seu presentão vai chegar aí. Então já manda o que você quer pra mim, hein?
I love you, Mom. Thanks for letting me do what I do.
Beijão pra Luciana, minha mãe.
It's time to once again play VCT America's favorite game show. It's Are You Smarter Than a Gold Player? Woohoo! Woohoo! All right, and here's how it works. We are going to be asking our contestant Benita today increasingly difficult questions in 4 different categories. If she needs help, she can ask our resident gold player, Golden Boy, for some level of assistance, depending on what he decides to write down behind him. Benita, how are you doing today? Are you ready to play? We're fighting for an incredible cash prize.
Yes, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okay, excellent. Well, you can see the categories on the board in front of you here. We'll save the gold question until last, so you can select from iron colors, bronze counting, or silver vocabulary. What are you going for, Benita?
Let's go with silver vocab.
Silver vocabulary. Let's bring up the question. What is the name of Yoru's Flash? Benita, what are you thinking here?
Flash?
Flash, the flash, the thing that blinds you, the thing that you throw out and it blinds you or your opponents.
Yeah.
Would you like to check in with your gold player?
Yes, please.
Okay, let's have a look at what this little gold player has come up with. He doesn't look too confident.
Distortion? I don't know. I don't play Yoru.
Okay, the gold player doesn't play Yoru, Benita. For the people at home as well, Benita is a smokesman. How often do you get to play Yoru?
I've never played Yoru.
Give me an answer. What do you think it is?
Flash.
It's Blindside!
Wait, that's a movie with Sandra Bullock!
And listen, we want to hear less from you, if at all possible, Mr. Gold Player. Okay, let's bring up the categories again. That was a rough start. But you did go for silver. There are easier questions out there. Iron colors, bronze counting. What do you want to go for, Benita?
Let's go bronze counting.
Bronze counting. Let's bring up the question. Bronze counting. How long does defusing 1/2 of the spike take?
The first half or the second half?
The half. The first half. Let's go with the first half.
5 seconds.
5 seconds. Okay, let's listen to our gold player. What does the gold player believe? 5 seconds as well. They're in alignment. That's the final answer. Let's take a look. Are they correct? It's 3.5 seconds.
That's the second half.
I trusted you, Benita.
That's the second half to first half.
I'm pretty sure.
Don't ask me.
Bad game show host.
I'm just the host. Let's take a look at the final category, which is Iron Colors. Benita, it's been a rough start for you so far. We've done a bit of trolling out here. Iron Colors, let's bring it up. What's the question? What two Americas teams have a red, black, and white colorway?
Sentinels.
Okay.
Okay. And?
You've always got that gold player if you're struggling.
All right, GB. What's the second one?
Golden Boy.
I think it might be.
100 T and Sentinels. Benita, are you swayed? Do you want to lock that in?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay, 100 Thieves and Sentinels. Let's see. The answer is Sentinels and 100 Thieves. Okay, it's time for something difficult. You've got a chance of redeeming yourself here, Benita. We've got our final category, gold spelling. How are you at spelling? Were you good as a kid?
Sure.
You were in a lot of the spelling bees? All right, let's bring it up. Gold spelling. Here it is, the most difficult question. Which VCT Americas player has the most characters in their in-game name? For reference, like a player like Asuna, 5 characters in their name. Who has the most characters, Benita?
Sadak?
Sadak. Okay. Shall we check in with our gold player? Gold player, what do you have for us over there?
Oh.
Kesnit Deus. Oh, going for the elongated version of Kesnit's name. I don't even really know whether that's technically true, but are you persuaded? Do you want to go with the gold player? Do you have some other thoughts? It's tense.
I'll just go with my answer.
Right. Okay. We're going to lock it in. We're going to lock it in with Sadak. Let's take a look. The answer is RGL Meister with 10 runners-up in Tacolia, Cryocells. I mean...
I'm just saying mine had 10.
Kesnideus does have 10.
Just saying mine had 10, Kurt. Mine had 10.
I think Kesnit normally goes by Kesnit. Listen, there's been controversy. There's been drama. There's been Benita trying her best for the cash prize, but that's going to be our show for the end of the day. Are you smarter than Golden Boy? There at home, tell us using the hashtags VCT Americas and VCT so that we can feature you on the broadcast. We need to step away for just a minute, but when we return, we will break down our first match of the day. It is Sentinels playing up against KRU. We'll see you then.
Right play here again. Aftershock 2, great set play from KRU right now. They get 2 kills, and there's a disgusting little trap there, Kesnit.
2 versus 2. Can he actually get it done? Fourth headshot off the target mode. Away from this one. He gets the ace.
Welcome back, everyone, to VCT Americas. It's time, of course, to talk about our first match of the day. We have Sentinels and crew. Of course, we're all still reeling over, are you smarter than a gold player? Turns out I was right. That's right, people. Everyone on the internet says, EB doesn't know what he's talking about. Joke's on you.
Kesnit does not go by Kesnit Deus all the time.
Look at the game. Just look at the game.
All right, we will do later on. We'll get a chance later on.
And then, unfortunately, Benita, 3.
I'll never get over this. No, I had to Google it. Like, I just can't believe
She will never live it down. All right, guys, well, let's go ahead and move on. Talk about this match here because this is a massive game for Sentinels. They have to win this one. If they lose, they're knocked out of the playoffs. And on top of that, you also have the season on the line here. Lots of stress. Fans obviously expecting a lot from this team as well. And on top of that, you may have noticed that a certain young man is walking amongst the team. Tens is back. That is right, Sideshow. Tens is back in rotation. This is going to be quite interesting, and they're doing it on this day of all days.
Yeah, I mean, it's really rough for Sentinels because it's not like they're in a win-and-in situation. They're still in a really difficult spot, but they've decided to make this roster move. They've also had to shift a ton of other roles within the team, calling within the team. It's more chaos that they have to deal with, and frankly, this team just needs to figure out something to look forward to LCQ, I think, never mind the match that's coming up.
Yeah, that's right, that's right. Now, of course, in a tweet with the text that said, and I quote, all clout, no breaks. It was revealed, of course, as you guys saw, that Tens is back in that roster. But the wildness doesn't stop there. Missed my camera for a minute. The wildness doesn't stop there, right? Because then a day later, we then find out that Def, the IGL of the team, is off of the roster. So the question on everyone's mind, well, then who steps up for the IGL role? Turns out we have a quote directly from the coach himself, and he said Marv will be stepping into the IGL role for this week's match. And as always, the expectation is that everyone else chimes in with ideas and plays to support him. Josh, Marv is stepping in this role.
Yeah, so Marv has some prior IGL experience with FaZe for a very short amount of time before he joined Optic. He was notorious on Optic for not actually doing very much calling or mid-rounding, but I think it's impressive that he as a sub has stepped up and accepted that burden of responsibility as a player. And I talked to Kaplan as well. He said that Zekken and Sassy are the two other players on the squad that he's going to be looking to help Marv a lot. But I think that's an enormous burden for a guy that hasn't IGL'd in a while.
In your experience in the server, does that bode well, like to have like 3 people sharing ideas at the same time, or one person? What do you make of it?
You want like most of your teammates talking to you, like interacting and contributing any idea for every round. Sometimes, yes, there could be like too many cooks in the kitchen, and you don't want that. But I think at this point, when every week what we're seeing from Sentinels is something different, I think they're just going to pug it out and try their best.
Yeah, well, they're going to need it, right? And, of course, Marv has a tall task in front of him. And we actually do have some insight, and I swear it's not a troll. We have some insight on his comms. Let's actually go ahead and take a look at that.
Like that.
We're gonna move, guys. Guys, 2 here, just 2 here. Fake it, trust me. Okay.
You wanna fake it?
Trust me. You guys run back, quick. Let's go street. Okay.
Straight? Oh, come on, baby.
Might know now. Okay, we can fake street and go art. Trust me, fake street and go art.
Yep.
You have a flash?
So that you can see Marv like stepping into that role a little bit more, right? Having more presence. But again, that's just one snippet, and you're going to need to do that each and every round. You're going to need the mid round. You're going to need to think about where the players are. It's a much more difficult task than just saying, let's go this way.
It's crazy difficult. And Marv was really happy with his performance after that game, the MIBR game. But actually, his individual read on the game has been seriously slipping after that, too. When they played against EG and when they played against Cloud9, Marv was getting bullied, honestly. And it wasn't just him losing Angels. His whole way of playing the game, like the lurks that he was finding and the ways in which he was taking fights, were getting dismantled. So that concerns me a little bit because the way in which he was thinking about the game and positioning himself and the timings he was taking, we're getting completely read by EG and Cloud9. And not just that, they actually put rookie players to mark Marv. The difference in experience is enormous between a player like Marv, who's been into finals, won championship events, and then people like Com and people like Jake, who were put on his like man-marking duty, and they destroyed Marv. So that, to me, is a bit of the issue here, is that I really appreciate that Marv has stepped up and taken the burden as a sub, but the read on the game recently hasn't quite been there, and I'm concerned if that's going to translate to his calling too.
I still think that he is going to do a great job, and I think that it's one of his ways of saying, like, I deserve to be on this stage and be in these matches.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is definitely one way to secure yourself on the roster, stepping into that role, saying, I'm going to be the IGL, I'm going to make this happen. So now it's just a matter of put up or shut up, right? We'll see what Marv is able to do on that stage, because his opponents, even though they're not playing for playoffs, they're still playing for that win, because they are the last winless team this split, and they're coming into this week with also roster changes of their own. But what's interesting here, the parallels between KRU and Sentinels sideshow, to me at least, is that I feel like despite KRU being winless, they're still showing us signs, and they have had really tough opponents, and Sentinels obviously are going to be a difficult opponent for them. Do you feel as if the trajectory has been solid for KRU?
I mean, despite the loss, the trajectory isn't necessarily solid, is it, when they're a winless team? But also, what I think is really interesting, a similar kind of story, is that they've made a bunch of roster changes themselves. Now, we don't really know from the outside whether those are trying to improve the team or whether those are because, you know, Nags has some issue that he wants to step out for, a la Heat yesterday. So what they've done, though, is remove a player or, you know, sit Nags onto the bench, a player that hasn't really been performing to a high degree, and they're getting fresh talent, maybe hungrier talent to play here, too.
Yeah, I mean, I think his injury, we don't know much about it, but he was just seems like he's in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's had some wrist stuff before.
And that's going to happen to a lot of these players as well. I mean, I think we even saw it with Patty over in Pacific region as well, right? Like, you know, you got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Otherwise, you know, these long runs, it gets harder toward the end. But, guys, here's the thing, though. They needed that win last week to pull off the playoff dream. And, unfortunately, they did not. So they're out. KRU is out of here. But, Benita, you know, going to you about this, right, I think that, you know, to the point that I was saying before, yes, KRU they have not been able to pick up that win, but they have gotten close, dangerously close, multiple times, and even against tougher opponents. What do you make of this KRU team?
Yeah, I mean, they just seem like the ability to close out games, it's just not there, but they're so close every time that you have to give them some credit.
What I think it comes down to is they play with this, I mean, Kesnet leads the team in a way where he feels like he just has to hard carry all the time. So when they're behind, he can really, like, take risks, gamble, get him into games, but when they're ahead, he keeps gambling, and then it ends up throwing it away, and they haven't really got that, like, disciplined structure to close games out very well. They're going to need that today. This is going to be a sloppy game.
It's going to be scrappy. And I like scrappy. I'm never mad about that. But obviously, this team is struggling. And even if you look at their Twitter, right, and what they've been posting, Kesnet, sadness has no end. I mean, that's like a My Chemical Romance lyric. Moving on to the next one, right? Because obviously, Kesnet sharing that there is no end here for him. Then we also had Ashedi saying stuff as well. Obviously, you know, saying Leviathan, GG well played, right? Destroyed. Thanks to the ones cheering for me. Ashedi coming into this team at the tail end of the season, even though he's been a part of the squad, it's a lot to ask of him, Josh.
It is a lot to ask, but I think they do actually have a serious opportunity at taking all of that disappointment and depression of losing and all of that mounting up and turning it into something at the end of this season. This is a winnable game because they've caught Sentinels just off a roster move too.
Yeah, well, they're going to need to dig themselves out. We also have one more tweet as well because Melzer actually said this as well. He was like, GG, incredible game from the guys, talking about Leviathan. Personally and as a team, the worst game we ever had. Sorry to all. And that says a lot, right? Like, you know, they have been having, Benita, not the best of times here in Los Angeles. And this is the day. They have to pull this off here and now.
Yeah, I think they're going to use all these feelings and emotions and sadness and bring out a win today, possibly.
Yeah.
It's going to be a sloppy match, like you said.
It is. It's going to be. But, hey, I'm not mad about that. I like me, you know, some good old-fashioned scrappy Valorant. But the head-to-head matchup to watch, though, will be Zekin as well as Kesnet. And these two, you know, I think that we're going to see these guys, you know, interacting with one another early and often. But I do wonder, though, whether or not Kesnet has what it takes to not go into that mode, that way you said before, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is, you would have looked at this a week ago and thought that it was this matchup, too. But the rumors on the streets are that Zekken is looking to pick up the Harbor stuff that Def was previously playing.
Ooh.
And Tens might be the one that's going, tete-a-tete with Kesnit. So, it's hard to really know what to expect from either of these squads, to be honest.
Guys, we tried to build this pre-match segment. They kept changing rosters. We tried, everyone. I mean, there's only so much we could do.
Also, I mean, for some of these teams, we haven't even seen them on certain maps. We don't know what they're going to be running with these rosters. Is Kesnit even going to be playing the duelist for the entire time? I would assume so, but it really is a crazy game.
Well, I was going to say, Benita, it's so wild that, we're getting so many changes. Is this something that do you feel could end up just, I mean, they're both doing it, so I guess it really helps both of them out, but do you feel like that this new energy is enough for them?
I mean, hopefully, I think adding 10 is going to be a lot of firepower, so it's going to bring a lot of energy.
I agree, yeah. Tens is definitely going to be the one to really look out for here, and of course, we will talk about him as we dive into the matchup there, but when you're not watching VCT Live, make sure you head over to our YouTube channel. Why don't you go ahead and check out exclusive content like Unstoppables, for example, and in a recent episode, we actually profiled the one and only Sergio Aguero. You may know him as the KRU owner, and we got his thoughts on the team struggles in 2023. Take a look.
It is very rough for KRU. Where do they get their win?
Mi equipo, ¿qué necesita para salir de esta mal temporada? Necesita relax, que no pasa nada. Lo veo mucho que cuando pierden lo sufren bastante. Y bueno, lo que yo trato de transmitirles es que no pasa nada, porque al final yo en el fútbol es así, cada 3 días o cada semana teníamos una revancha. Entonces siempre trato de transmitirle que si se pierde, que se mejore, pero la siguiente semana hay otra vez, es revancha.
Igual están mucho mejor los chicos, ¿eh? Yo creo que semana a semana se los ve mejor. Esta serie me parece que se la podrían haber cerrado en el split. Estuvieron cerca, el 8-4 la primera mitad de lado.
Bueno, vamos a ver el martes. Bueno, bien Kesnit, arrancando.
Kesnit amasa, sí.
3 contra 1.
Buena KRU.
Bueno, fue un buen comienzo, esperemos otra vez. Para mí, el gol más importante fue en el Manchester City en el 2012 contra Qualifier, que después de 44 años, el City no ganaba un campeonato de liga. Y para mí ese gol fue el más importante de mi carrera, el que voy a recordar toda mi vida.
Balotelli. Aguero! Staggering! Just staggering!
Que es lo mejor que me pasó en mi vida. Ahora trato de que KRU algún día pueda ser parecido a eso. No sé si tanto tiempo, porque al final llevamos 2 años y medio. Esperemos que sea pronto. Pero al final el City, cuando yo llegué, empezó a crecer en ese momento. Y lo que busco es que justamente KRU, que alguien, no sé quién va a ser, cualquier jugador que justo mate en el último momento a uno y sea como la kill histórica.
Bien.
Bien, Kenny, bien. Voy en busca de eso con el equipo de Valorant, ¿no?
Of course, check out the full video at VALORANT Americas on YouTube, but let's get into some predictions here. Who do we have? Benita, who do you think?
Go 2-1 Sentinels.
2-1 Sen. Sideshow.
I've got KRU. I think Sentinels just like they're in a bit of a mess at the moment. I don't think they're going to be able to bring it out.
Oh, I like that. Could KRU find their first win here today? It's going to be awesome, man. But guys, we have 2 matches where absolutely anything can happen. It's like probably the best thing you could possibly want if you're a Valorant esports fan. So folks, we have Sentinels versus KRU. We have Loud taking on NRG. I think you know what's coming. VCT Americas starts right now. This stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
Everyone was talking about him, and this is going to be the guy to look out for.
Too much Cryo again. Does this guy miss? Does Cryo ever miss? No, he doesn't.
Olha a Taser, escala bem, faz duplo abate, vamos, Fogão!
Se acaba tempo e leva!
Sim, eu tô bastante confiante que a gente tem o necessário para sair com essa primeira vitória do campeonato. Então acho que é mais jogar o nosso jogo, jogar como a gente vem jogando os treinos.
This is up. Kesnet attempting to go ballistic here, and that's 3.
Cara, eles tiveram um início parecido com o nosso, muito mal. Então vão ser dois times que estão mal. Eu não sei o que dizer, o que esperar. Eu não sei se a gente ainda tem chances de playoffs. Se a gente tiver, então é vida ou morte, a gente tem que entrar pra deixar tudo.
Heineken gets the third kill, a 2 versus 2. A fourth headshot on the Chocobo, a 1 versus 1. He gets the ace.
There was a clear rivalry last year between the Optic Core and Loud.
E sempre jogar contra eles é uma sensação diferente, porque você sabe que os caras, eles, em nenhum momento eles desistem.
We just have to continue winning and make playoffs.
Oh my. Artist on a 2v1. Makes it twice. Makes it 49 HP.
E esse jogo realmente para nós vai ser importante para conseguir assegurar o top 1.
Não teve ali, o Aspas já garante o primeiro abate, já tá com dash ativo, leva mais um, tenta fazer o estrago aqui pra cima de mais jogadores, e a galera vai dando a chance pra ele brilhar! Aspas! Brilha mais uma vez!
Sen City is looking to be bumping tonight, but watch out because the KRU is moving in, and KRU have everything to gain and nothing to lose. The absolute worst kind of opponent to face off in a game as important as this.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, KRU look like they've got a serious chance of winning this. And as a winless team in the league right now, you've got to ask the question, how has it come to this for Sentinels, right?
Yeah.
Like, how have they got themselves into this point? And I think there's just a series of issues for them throughout the year. They started scrimming late in January, much later than a lot of teams. They changed to off roles to suit Def's calling after the lock-in performance. They then fired the head coach who helped solve big issues like this and gave more work to their strategic coach that wasn't strategy, changed their roles and roster again. Now they've let their IGL go and changed more roles and roster changes. It has been a series of problems that these very talented players have had to deal with. And that's how they find themselves in such a sticky spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think they look like they're trying to have a lot of fun up there. Their body language, they look happy.
At this point, that's all they can do, right? You know?
Yeah, but I do think the addition of TENS is going to add a lot of firepower and bring a lot of firepower to these games. It'll be really interesting to see how the roles work out and which agents are going to be put on Zekken.
That's actually true, because I didn't even factor that in. Like, yeah, we are getting like a dramatic change here. Zekken's going to be, another dramatic change. And it's actually wild when you list everything out in a row like that. It just sounds like utter chaos, right? It has been, and it's reflected in the position that they find themselves in here right now. That being said, though, I do agree with you, Benita. I think that the addition of TENS is really going to change the outlook of this team, because he's the type of player that's so good that he could bail you out of those situations in case you find yourself in a sticky one.
Absolutely. And then we have map picks here.
Yeah, so SEN getting rid of early and then Fracture afterwards too. Frankly, I don't know where these teams are going to go. I made so many roster moves that to me it just feels like, I don't know, get them on a puggy map, get them on a map where they can play double duelist.
Oh, hey, look, Lotus, they can go see every time.
I mean, neither of these teams have won on Lotus.
Yeah, 6, so someone's going to get a win today, Josh.
Yeah. Oh, good, neither of the teams have won on Bind either.
Turn up.
Because neither of the teams have played Bind this year.
They're permabans.
Yeah, so this is just...
So this is the upside down. That's where we are right now. We're in the world of Stranger Things, and we're just in the upside down.
In the fun zone.
I mean, obviously, Bind is a newer map that's come back in, so it's kind of obvious that a lot of teams won't have really tried it yet.
Yeah.
But the fact that both of the two maps that we're seeing to start this series, neither team has a victory on this year, it just tells you everything you need to know about how open this game really is.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're ending on Pearl is so interesting to me, because both of these teams have been bizarre there. They don't have great records, but they've both beaten Loud on Pearl.
I think I just saw Josh become even more bald, like over time. It's incredible here.
I'm just, listen, it's not going to be the highest quality Valorant you've ever seen, but it is going to be some of the most fun Valorant you've ever seen. It's going to be bonkers.
That is true, and the fans are all out full force for this one. That is a sick cat drawing.
I
love that. Well done.
Cheers.
Keep the artwork coming, people. But yeah, you know, you're right, Josh. This whole series it's going to be bonkers, top to bottom. But let's jump into this agent select and see what the hell we're going to get here, because really, the floodgates are open.
Yeah, they are. For Sentinels, you're expecting... Oh, my God. I mean,
yes!
This is what I'm talking about.
Yes!
There's no way of expecting what you see. The Neon on Lotus is actually fantastic. Teams around the world, the win rate on Neon on Lotus is through...
Yeah, weren't we seeing it a lot at the beginning of Lock-In? But I don't think we've seen it much here in...
It was actually only really Foot, the EMEA team, that were playing it at Lock-In. But since then, a lot of other teams have picked it up, and it's looked fantastic. But my question is just, how good does TENS look on it? Is he Leaf? Or is he just going to run around and do whatever?
All right, well, this is it. Let's go ahead and send it over to your casters for this one, and we're not changing our roster here. We're going to be sticking with the homies, Doug and Bala.
Thank you, Golden Boy. I appreciate the vote of confidence. Bala, I feel like we're in for something silly.
I mean,
today.
The agent selection already is silly. I mean, I'm so interested in how this is going to go because, like Josh said, the Neon comp is through the roof in terms of win rate. But Sentinels running it, I mean, they really haven't found footing on pretty much any comp. So,
well, I mean, there's compositions that are funny as far as the TENS on Neon. There's also the fact that you are going for double controller, but it's not the typical double controller that we've seen. It's slightly varied with Zekken on the Omen of all things. So maps are silly. Yeah. The agent select was silly. The role selections feel exceptionally silly. I just think we're in for a good time, man. I'm not gonna lie to you.
For sure. And the funny thing is, too, KRU is swapping a player as well. We have Ashetti coming in for Nags. He played last week, but for Davies, and Davies had an injury. So right away, TENS getting in the typical Neon position. See if KRU wants to challenge. Looks like they do.
Oh, of course they do. That was dry, too.
Oh, my God.
He went all the way in.
Okay.
And all the way to the next round.
I like it. I like the enthusiasm.
I respect it, yeah.
Maybe not in that situation, but we saw the vision, right? We saw the vision.
Poison's off.
So KRU are able to take care of Tens, deal with the early aggression that Sentinels tried throwing their way on the A side of the map, and now they want to end B.
Good high tide through.
Here.
And they should be able to get a spike plant. They want to fight into B link, and that's great because the door wasn't broken yet. So Zekin alone on this challenge against 3.
Alone, and he's weak. Just 51 HP for him. Lean ball Marv getting one. There it is. Funnel into Zekin. He was able to take one with him.
Classic Marv on the flank too with Saucy there.
Yeah, this is weird because the remaining members of KRU are all going to be playing in Worm in that area of the map right there outside of panel. And this is, I mean, against Frenzies, against Ghosts, this is not what you want to be set up for at all. Sentinels get the pistol.
That's such a small place to be peeking out of. Just such a hard choke to do anything. And then you have to deal with the elevation of the spike and the threat of the spike defuse too. Great mid-round there from Marv and Saucy to actually go through and flank into B main. That is wonderful. And again, I mean, I'm alluding to Marv being the IGL here, but also this is the 4th major change in terms of compositions, role changes, in terms of rosters, in terms of coaching staff that Sentinels have made. So let's see, are the vibes different? That's the biggest thing you have to have going into a change like this.
Well, I mean, and to continue the trend that you were just talking about, even look at Lotus. This is the 3rd time Sentinels play this map, and it's the 3rd different comp.
Yeah.
I mean, everything, it's been a revolving door of changes, a box of chocolates, if you will. You don't really know what you're going to get, but another opener from Marv. That looked like that was on.
Good attempt for Machete. I do like the high tide as well. Blocking off B main, that allows you to get that control. You can for sure get the orb, but you also have door control. And so if you went for a threat of Mound from the defensive side, you're getting cut off. So they've already farmed 2.
That Guardian falls there. Marv was able to take one.
Ouch.
Yeah, that doesn't feel good. There is still one Guardian in play in the hands of Zekin. He's going to be rotating over a bit late, though. Pankata's in a really good spot. That's such a miserable spot to have to clear.
I don't know why they're not going around the other side, but they've still made this an interesting eco round. They've got a Guardian in hand.
High tide denying some of the vision.
Never mind, no Guardian anymore.
And forget about denying vision. I guess it doesn't matter if you're going to land the shots regardless. A 3K for Zekin.
Zekin has only played controller like 5 times. You can count on one hand. And they've all been in just, you know, Mickey Mouse tournaments. In the pure definition of the word.
He really is just so versatile.
I mean, how much to ask about this guy? 17 years old, coming in, playing in partnerships after a fantastic year last year. Getting his real VCT start last year.
And then also to do it in this setting that that the team has had to go through as far as all of the changes, but then also for a very passionate fan base.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure
so
for
much
a young
pressure.
kid.
We're into the next round, and we're going to challenge A-Main again. KRU's out! What a dash from Kesmet!
And that from him, it's very well handled. You can see they were ready for some of that aggression. Second time now that we see this opening brawl on that side of the map. And second time that we see KRU rotating away from it. Deep flash confirming some suspicions from Sassy. He does have Seekers to work with too.
Normally that's the thing you want to be doing with the Neon is rotating based off of the flashes, and you see Ten's already in position. After, remember, he was involved in that brawl A main. KRU's just going walkabouts. They got melted by those nanoswarms last time. They have to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can do about that. All you can do is, all right, next round.
Poor Marv.
Yeah, that's truly unlucky. A deep flash, the second one out from Saucy towards B.
Let's count the IGL death win rate for Marv. Is he Angel?
30 seconds left.
Ten's getting dropped there by Klaus, and now Seekers used. Pankata once again is going to have to try to hold the line. Tucked behind the wall. But the spam fest continues.
Shield going out.
Did that cove?
I don't think he was covering
outside
it.
of the cove. Yeah. That was close. He still manages to get the spike down though.
I mean, they'd have to push the waterfall to get that anyways. It's not the biggest deal.
Second, looking to get a little bit more value out of that Guardian. Remember, it's at 3K in the previous round.
This player's just so close though here from KRU. And there's no flank pressure.
No flank pressure. They're all playing on site, as you were saying. Got to spam through that to try to get a kill. And Melser's certainly worse for wear. Just 9 HP to him. But a flash in the face of the one remaining member of Sentinels in Sofsy. And that's just too much.
God, I'd be so mad if I was Sofsy there. Checking the HP of Melser in that corner. Hit him with like 6 bullets. Yeah. Either way, KRU, anti-bonus successful. And we'll get a timeout after it? Question mark?
Early. Is this... All right. No, I guess that's real. Okay. Timeout called by KRU in round 4.
One enemy remaining.
I'm just immediately waiting to see like Coach Adam.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, what can you really be discussing this early in the game?
Yeah, I mean,
it's got to be something bad that Adam saw, right?
And the thing is, yeah, I mean, look, he's talking very, very high pace. The thing is, like, you have time to talk about like the surprise of the comp that you're seeing before the game starts. So
right,
you're able to hypothesize about what is coming, but not necessarily what actually is happening. So now that they've seen so much focus on the same main and how TenZ is rotating around the map. The thing is, KRU actually hasn't played Cloud9, the other team that is playing this Neon right now. So they don't necessarily have that down. They haven't prepped for that team. Whereas Sentinels is probably stealing a lot from that. So this is a chance to reassess the game plan that you came up with after not having any prep coming into this against this composition.
I mean, you wonder how often they've seen Lotus to begin with. Remember, this is KRU's permaban. They decide to let it go through in this pick and ban, and Sentinels jump right on it.
Funny part is, Golden Boy mentioned like the lock-in comps that were running Neon. Josh said about the footballist comp, but KRU, who went out in the first series against Navi, did run a Neon comp. It was much more aggressive, and they were trying to use the wall to go for plants in that situation. And that is so far away from what the established meta is about the comp. So I was thinking, okay, they might have some experience against this, but actuality is not that, because it was so different.
So different, so long ago, a different roster too. Either way, outside of the timeout, KRU decide not to really fight or scrap for that A main control. They just put the alarm bot, and looks like they want to test mid for now.
I like repositioning and fighting A main late here, because oftentimes you have that rotate away from the Omen who might TP'd up there. A lot of times he's by himself. And it's actually really hard to anchor this A side if you aren't playing like a Killjoy or something like that. You have to rely on rotates to come in.
And as you were just saying, Zekin's here alone. There are rotates that are starting to come through. You see TenZ is on the move. Sasi's not far off either. Cascade just went all the way off.
Yeah, that's to push them into tree. Now they have the Reckoning. They're going to settle on this A side. There's no other choice here for KRU.
30 seconds left.
Not without having cleared B side of any nanoswarms.
Yeah, I mean,
they're going to go for it, though. Reckoning in, yeah, they have this choice, actually.
They put the high tide up to deny some of the vision early on. Trailblazer cleared, spike planted. Where do they go from here?
Planted.
TenZ moment to shine. He has a fast lane to get out. How do they use it?
No, there is no lurk or anything going on from Marv. He's joined alongside the rest of his team, so nothing like that KRU are going to have to deal with. None of his antics. The opener's certainly going to help. That's a second kill going down. Make that a third. I mean, they're just able to demolish what KRU have put up here.
He's saving. He's got to. There's opportunities for mollies through the little window there inside of a link, but Penka's like, get out of my way, Zek. Isn't it crazy? I'm pretty sure Zekin has played more Killjoy in professional matches than he has played Omen or Controller. And Penkata's on the team. Penkata's been obviously, since the beginning of the split, playing this Sentinel role for this team. So you have to imagine he's finally getting comfortable.
But you're right, his resume is that of a world-class controller.
And you got two of them. Obviously Martin is going to be playing in any of those single controller situations. I mean, maybe it's not obvious, I don't know.
Now you got Zekin, who's going to be competing for that title. You're going to have 3 world-class controllers at this rate. Either way, another round for Sentinels. Crew already have scaled up towards B a fair amount. And perhaps it's exploratory just to clear out some of the utility. But it looks like they're going to hit door and go back mound.
Yeah, again, it's that high tide that I mentioned earlier. Ooh, this re-aggro here could catch Sexetti.
He dinked him, but he fell for it.
Yeah, but Saucy can heal Tens back up here. And they were fighting together, so chance for it right now. That leaves only 2 here on the site, though.
One of them is Pancata, who's got that turret close by.
It's so frequent that they're not even getting in towards the seaside because of those mollies. I mean, just playing both of the mollies on this side is so suffocating. Kessen's never dashing in until after, too.
Yeah. The mollies, the nano swarms. I mean, they've done a really good job of removing the options from Crew here. Now you've got the lockdown that there's no cubby, there's nowhere to really tuck. You just have to give all the space back up. Ball of the door, only 30 seconds left in the round. Yeah. They haven't cleared B. The alarm bot is still up. What options do they have?
And remember, they lost a main control right away at the beginning of the round, so yeah, it's looking to me like it should be a save. 20 seconds.
Every single door shut.
Well, I mean, not literally. That door was revolving the entire time.
That's true, that's true. You can hit the button, it'll open again, yes.
Yeah, 4-1. Crew struggling again. And for them, I was actually expecting a little bit more whimsy here from them. I was expecting, you know, Keston to be... I mentioned how he wasn't really dashing in and trying to get past those nanoswarms or anything like that. Create space for his team. But I was expecting a little bit more, because for this team, like, they're 0-7. They don't have any chance of playoffs. There's really nothing
to lose.
Sure. There's literally nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So, especially given how they normally play and how Kesnet likes to play, his pace, it's kind of surprising so far on this map. Like you said, they haven't been playing Lotus very often.
I mean, on the other side of the timeout that we saw, it hasn't been any aggression towards A. It's been a lot towards B, or C, excuse me, and this time they're rewarded for a kill onto Marv. They get the orb, put it into the hands of Melser, who's still pretty far away from his reckoning. But I guess he was the only good option in that instance.
I think Marv got lost there. When he got flashed.
It's this late aggression A again.
Good jump spot. And Zekin is
got
really getting the info down here.
He's getting the info and he's doing it from an area of safety. Right? Still dips in and gets a kill. This is very well done.
Flash now too. They gotta fall back. He has Saucy now to flash for him. That's not Saucy.
No.
Go, Tens, go. Do Tens things.
Pancata's here with him, but he's on the opposite side. Yeah. Little audio.
They all went tree here, though.
Last player standing.
And they were all there waiting for him.
They all looked at Tens, though.
They all shot at Tens, too.
Bot coming back.
Yeah, it looks like Pancata's just playing for exits here.
I think he's gonna go for a ninja defuse.
You think so?
Yeah, what do you think?
We haven't had one yet.
They're gonna open the door, all run that way.
Yeah, there's the door.
He's gonna take away the turret somehow.
That's step one. What's step two?
Turret goes away. They don't check this.
Powers up.
He kills them all.
We didn't get much further down your list.
We got this.
Okay, so what was different there for Crew? I mean, Zekin ultimately fell, right? Saucy wasn't able to help him rotate in time. But is that it? Is that the key for Crew? Just continue to hit A,
well, I think
Zekin maybe the area of weakness?
The last time Crew stalled because they were looking for that orb to get the reckoning on that A hit.
Sure.
This time, they disrespected Zekin's smoke, and I think that makes sense because, like I said earlier, there's no anchor on this A side. There's no, I mean, there is Zekin, but he doesn't have that same amount of stalls. So they just went for the flash. They know he's solo playing there, and it was very easy to get the kills to follow up on that. So I think there, they recognized the situation. They noticed it was only Zekin playing on the site, and they're happy to push that. Speaking of pushing, same setup from Saucy and Tens, and they're getting deep here. Very deep.
I think Tens has gotten past the alarm bot too. I mean, the only thing that's has the potential to spot him is going to be the turret. I wonder if they call
Wall
it
it off? No, he just shot it.
Or that.
I mean, it's good because they got to go fast here to cover out the spaces and suffocate them into their own pit.
Second's already fallen. Traded back though. And that the Seekers, yeah, that could be the problem here.
As long as they don't get broken before the pit. Wait, the pit's down. Actually, Ashedi was the one to fall.
Marv playing on the other side of this wall for now. Kesnit weak. Sentinel starting to encroach upon the site, slowly taking the space. There's Dash to break the crosshair, yeah. A 2v4. And just nothing really doing here for Sentinels.
Uh-oh.
Surprising too, because honestly, given what we've seen the last couple of rounds, I expected KRU to do a bit of the same. You make a lot of contact, you make a lot of noise C, and then you rotate back A, and I thought Sentinels were going to have the jump on it, given the flank that you mentioned from Tens and Sasi, but it was a full hit C. And it worked out.
Et de 1. J'ai plus de charge. A plus.
I don't know.
He's
Yeah, that's a different voice line. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure Kesnit used to play in Russian. Now he's playing in French. I love it.
Adam does too. Timeout called this time from Sentinels, so both teams have used one of the two that they're allotted in this map. So 1-round lead for Sentinels here, early on Lotus.
And some of the things definitely in the setup getting abused here out of Sentinels. Specifically, they're able to get to kills on the Sasi and Pancada before anything really happens. They're mostly actually allowing that site take, given the flank coming in, saying let's play retake in that situation. But that's allowing the pit, and obviously the pit went down. But you have to play so much differently when you're trying to fight that, and then all of a sudden when the situation changes, you have to then play differently again, and you have to be quick with it. For a team that probably has no protocols, let's be honest here, with the amount of changes that have gone on so far.
Yeah.
That's a tough ask. KRU's back in this. And Kesnit has gone way back up in terms of form.
And KRU have gone way back towards this A main aggression early. We haven't seen this since the other side of the timeout.
And it's a good read out of this timeout, specifically recognizing, okay, Sentinels is probably expecting us to continue with the C hit, given all of our A main aggression. And now they've left Tens all alone, which is fine because if they hit the other side, he could rotate fast. If they hit this side, he could get out and play retake. See what he opts to do. I do like KRU's insistence on going for this Viper Orb, this Viper Wall as well. It's very Fnatic-esque, very reminiscent of how Bind is played.
Evolving door hit. You see Melser tucking in the smoke. And this is already drawn over the rotations from Sentinels. Remember, it was just Tens here at the beginning of the round. Now Sasi and Zekken are close by.
Oh, they're gonna look for a second.
Yeah, you can see the temptation.
He can spam at some point here.
There's just no real knowledge. There's no cue that that's where they are. But they're going to push into the panel. They're going to push into Pancada. He's flashed. He still gets a kill. Meanwhile, Tens goes aggressive. Just 2 left for KRU. Make that one.
Spike down.
Huge from Pancada there.
Yeah, I think Pancada with 3 on the round. Well, hang on. We're not out of the woodwork yet.
No, he has to get spiked, though. This is so tough.
Yeah, actually, never mind. We may be out of the woodwork.
10 seconds left.
Even if Pancada goes down.
Oh, he has?
Yeah, Zekken's nowhere near him.
Oh, no. Yo, that is the worst betrayal. Top 10 anime betrayals right there. That's hurt. What are you doing, bro?
Unlucky.
I thought he was trolling at first. I was like, oh, he knows the round's over. I thought he was trolling. But no, it was his turret. Just blocking him in. That's so funny. I don't think I've seen that.
It's funnier still when you consider that the last remaining member of KRU just ran around it. On the other side.
One enemy remaining. Spike down. Don't keep them
back into the action. 2-round lead for Sentinels.
Okay, so KRU should have recognized that there was no util actually spammed down here in the last round. And they should be able to walk past this one way, yes. But with the flash from Saucy not... Oh, actually, he didn't flash at all. I'm wondering why they're rotating right now. No Trailblazer, nothing. I think maybe just a shoulder peek out of Marv. Setting back up in the same position. The big success last time was Pancata getting into B-Link. Whoa, they're really close. They don't expect this.
It's so deep. A 1-for-1. Kesnet looking for another, but Zekin cuts things off at the perfect time. What a cross.
That was a cool idea there from KRU. They don't throw the orb because normally Asheti is actually throwing that orb slightly later in the round. So they just walked up, passed, and try to fight before that orb even lands, and it almost catches them by surprise. I think they should have gotten more there. I think they should have gotten both kills on that site.
Yeah, if not for Zekin, they're controlling the cross from stairs.
Yeah, the wall timing was really slow.
Yep.
Last player standing.
Just one left now for KRU. It's Davies, who does have the spike in hand, but just looking to min-max whatever he can get out of this round.
Bot coming back.
You wonder here if, depending on how Davies chooses to play this, oh, he was actually just going to get the orb, so now it's locked down the line.
That's crazy. That's
10
a
seconds
15-second orb pickup.
A meaningful one at that.
Yeah, we're coming down to the tail end of this half.
Turret down.
And you start to see more opportunities for Sentinels to balloon this lead on the defensive side of Lotus, mind you. They're going to have the pit, Marv's pit. They're going to have Pancata's ult as well. I mean, they have some tools here. They have some options. And financially, it seems like they may buffer themselves well, given that Tens has his ult too.
Tens was ready for that. Good out of him, because Saucy was flashing way deeper to get info whether they were out completely.
Yeah.
And not really using it as a
peeks now.
As a flash.
Get out of my way.
4 ults on mine while KRU just has the one, and it's the one you see on your screen here. Kesnet, who seemed to be heating up around the middle of the first half, is slowing down tremendously, as is the rest of KRU, to be honest. We've seen this look before, and that's going to draw out the ult from Marv.
Marv is a lineup for this ult here. I'm not sure exactly what the point of it is, but it's definitely specifically positioned for that one. Here's a pocket to fall back so he can play inside a waterfall. A little pocket on top of the rail too.
Question I have here is how KRU choose to play taking the same main space. If they're just going to contact or use some of the utility that they haven't made a single bit of noise.
It's been the same thing over and over. Use the orb, flash through, use the cascade to cover out tree. Second just got so much info. They stopped the cascade early. That was a little odd.
Oh yeah, it's very odd. The first time we saw it run off the map, the second time it stopped, this time it's in the middle of tree. Kesnet going up top, dropping Tens. Blade's still on mine. Now they're going to have to get through the lockdown. They're going to have to give all the space back unless Asheti goes absolutely bonkers, which he is in a position to do so, but he's going to be by himself. And he can't hold any of it. Sentinels fill the space. Deep flash out from Saucy as the spike continues to tick away. Melser's only able to get one, but Klaus helps too. Just 2 left for Sentinels. Numbers cruise away, including the key one in Kesnet, who still has blades. It's a 1v1 now. Marv, how cold can he be? The tap! It's a right click out from Kesnet, not landing. He's gonna have a sheriff now, and that's gonna force the hand. And it's just not enough.
Scrappy there. And Kesnet with the knives did such a good job. Obviously closing out the round, but also that initial pick. Up drafting, up over the high tide from drop right here. Also with the Seeker. So Tens has so much to deal with in that instance. And the final kill was really easy, obviously, but he did so because of that pressure that Marv has to actually get half into the round already again.
That's a great start.
It's just lovely.
Yeah, given that we've seen Tens hit that same stun, this time getting a kill out of it's great.
I think for Asheti there, you're also thinking that Tens is using his speed to get past, so he's just spraying, trying to catch a little bit of chip damage on the way through. So Tens actually stops short and gets the shot onto him without seeing him, obviously. But it's just such a nice little pre-fire based off of how Ashedi has been playing. And he's been getting picked a lot.
They're split here, and Second has gotten so far up off the back of the Trailblazer. Look at this cheeky angle. He's not going to be detected by the alarm bot. Depending on which way they go, if Davies rotates or if the Spike is the one that rotates, Zekin might be able to end the round himself. Oh, they've trapped him.
No.
They've trapped him.
He's trapped them. He's trapped them.
And he stays. He stays tucked. He doesn't go back B. That's going to leave him in a really nice position for a late flank.
30 seconds left.
The thing is that Alarmbot's not going to do anything either, obviously, because Davies is dead, so the rest of crew are going to funnel out onto the side off the back of the Reckoning. But Sentinels want to flood. Look, they're already on site. They're dropping in from the heavens, and they're both dropping down into the next round.
Spike down A.
Second's going to be on this late flank, and Sasi attempts to delay for just a moment, but Kesnit's got him red.
That timing is so unlucky.
Second's going to have to make a big play. 2 to deal with. Oh, and it's just 1 dealt with. Kesnit gets 3 on the round as crew get 5.
Can they tie this half up?
In the half.
Can they do it? I was thinking this is pretty impressive from Sentinels, still maintaining that defensive sidedness of this Neon comp that Cloud9 has been putting up to the forefront, but I thought that was because Cloud9, not because it was the comp or anything like that. Lotus is generally attack-sided, one of the most attack-sided maps in the pool. So I was wondering how many did crew actually need here?
Slight variation here. Sentinels have 3 towards A.
They're going to fight for this.
Stun's a little different. They dropped the Paranoia and the flash out from Sasi.
I do like how TenZ is not using his fast lane here, but the fast lane usage in general hasn't been there.
He's taking the Trailblazer space. Remember, this is similar to the pistol round. He uses the ult, tries to tag 1. It's just damage dealt.
That didn't work last time. But it must have worked in scrims or something. Because that... Yeah, I don't know.
Couldn't tell if that flash. It should have tagged some, but... Trailblazer cleared out, and Zekin has to give the space up. Teleports to safety. There's not a whole lot of time left in this round here.
Wave crashing.
You still have decent delay tools too. Marved and Sasi are once again ahead of the play. They're going to be rotating over to A before crew are even out. And it's going to leave Makata in this brutal situation where if they try to get in through panel, he's going to have to do it on his own.
30 seconds left.
Seeker's invested. Sasi trying to dance around it. Lockdown used. Makata's waiting in the judge on the other side, and you can see Marv is ready for it too.
What is happening?
15 seconds left. They managed to get the spike down.
Seekers and these guys have a judge and a stinger. Can they actually get Vandals here?
Such a labored fight. I don't know that they're in a... Yeah, they both have gotten Vandals. They used the Seekers to pave the way. Now a 2v2. Cloud's 53 HP. You've got Davies, who's all the way up in heaven, making sure there's just nobody pushing him from spawn, but that may be too much for Klaus to handle. Deals with the first. Fake flash to buy time. Sasi's gonna have to do it on his own. Card stacked against him. How does he deal? Nano in his lap. Flash backside, a second one. Just biding time. 4 bullets left. Is that gonna be enough? Davies, healthy. The tap. It's a swing and it's a kill from Davies. A 6-6 half.
The 2 players from crew there handled the 2 Brazilian champions so well in that situation. And you mentioned those Seekers going out. Those actually allowed them to get the weapons, but it did waste the Seekers in a sense. They're not actually able to capitalize on the position of Davies and his teammate too. So it's actually a 6-6. We get all tied up, all even.
Remember, Davies hasn't been with us for the last couple of weeks, 2 weeks if I'm not mistaken. He's back and he's clutching things out for his team already. We're actually going to toss it down to Sideshow, which always just feels like a dangerous thing to say, but he is standing by with the sideline report.
Thank you, Doug. No danger here, though. I've had the opportunity to have a listen into the comms on Sentinels for this halftime. As we know, they recently got rid of their IGL Def, or they parted ways, I should say. And having previously listened to how Def likes to call his teams, he's a very micro-based caller. He likes to always have a game plan, tell each player on the team where they should be going, and in some sense dominates the comms. Now, that can be a good thing, that can be a bad thing as well. But Sentinels have gone into a different direction now. With Marv at the helm, in theory, their comms sound much more open for everybody to have that input. And in fact, it has ended up being, in my opinion, much more input from Zekken and Sassy compared to Marv on that first half because of Marv's positioning over on the C side where he's away from the action a lot of the time. It's still very puggy, obviously, as you would expect from Sentinels, because they haven't had time to really practice with this roster for a long time. But you're getting all of that input from each of the players. We also saw a great tactical timeout that called there from Kaplan, where he was able to inform the team on some stuff. Not going to go into specifics, but it helped out the team to get a grasp of what they were doing on the defense side. But what I'm interested in looking forwards is whether they can set up those good game plans and get clean retakes happening into the future maps, let's say. Because out of the rounds in which they won that weren't just the pistol and the follow-up, 3 out of 4 of those 1 rounds on the defense were by stalling the team out instead of going for retakes. And those retake protocols, the setting up of plans, and the way in which they're going to move around the map, that's the kind of stuff that takes the practice, that takes an IGL to set up plans at the beginning, rather than just having everybody communicate what they're doing in the moment. This is definitely a team that is still figuring things out, but there are a lot of voices and a lot of experience on this squad. Will they be able to make it happen here? It's completely dead even at the half, so we'll have to see, and I'll send things back over to Doug and Bala for the rest of the cast.
Thank you so much, Josh. Yeah, wise words of wisdom from the hard-boiled egg, and it's always good to see Sideshow on the sideline. It is a 6-6 half, and I don't know that it got much closer than this, Bala.
Dude, he turned from an egg into a mole there. Getting into the comms? That's crazy. That's crazy, but also really good insight. I think one thing is the defensive side versus the attack side for an IGL. Defensive side is a much more collaborative effort. Here, it's a much more focused on the initial call and then the mid-round follow-up. And we heard a clip of him doing that earlier on in the split against Loud. And that was a game where he had so much impact on this lyric. So he's calling just a walk-up C behind their wall, controlling Mound. And Sassy has a Trailblazer still that they might want to execute once this cycle is down for Machete.
Sun back sight. Attempting to clear the nano. Does go off, but doesn't deal any damage. They've been able to navigate around it, dance around the utility, the traps that have been left, and have done so flawlessly.
That hit was really nice. The paranoia and the pathing specifically from the Sentinels player is really good.
3-player flank from KRU. The alarm bot did spot them, but I mean, how do they understand that it's 3 on the other side? So flash that stun is so good. How? What a great response up from Kesnet.
And they're scrambling here on the back of sight.
Davies is a little bit slow to get here. He's gonna have to be pacey, and Takada's there. He's ready, he's waiting, but he wasn't ready enough.
Time is a factor.
2v2, it's all on to Meltzer. But you're right, Takai may be the big difference maker here. Zekken tucking, Zekken getting the kill, and Sentinels getting the pistol.
Wow, I like that actually a lot in hindsight for Meltzer. Recognizing he's low on time, recognizing that Zekken is going to be able to actually break down that orb and easily find the angle on him. And also recognizing that he's isolated and stuck inside a waterfall, so he can 100% take that fight with the time remaining and potentially get back. I'm not sure if he had enough time to get back, but well done from Sentinels. That hit was really nice. And then also being able to handle the mad flank that was going on because of Tenz's push in the back. Hey, who's that? Drew Spark in the back.
Yeah. Always nice to see him get some love, too. Pistol round out for KRU, choosing not to force just a shorty in the hands of Meltzer. Which, I mean, we have seen some outrageous shorty antics this split, really across the globe. You can see it, he's just waiting just on the other side of the door with Klaus close by.
Trailblazer through as well. Marp handling the backside of the hit right there. And Ten's going way forward. They've got full control of B. Can they get through the revolving door? Yes. And that high tide, actually, they're in front of it anyways. So really, actually poorly placed there from Elzer. Especially because Pancata has B main control too. That could have been nice if they had somebody up in B main, but they didn't.
Kesnet dead. Davies real close by to joining him. It's just Melser and Ashetti that are left. And Zekin here's one of them trampling around.
I thought Zekin was a player for KRU actually in his position there. He's hunting him now. Made it clear where he was by tapping the door. Oh! Hit him with the pop and swing.
Water rising.
Wiggly wall!
Ah, we love a good wiggly wall.
Wiggly wall is so good!
Standing.
That wasn't very wiggly though.
It was a little wiggly. It needed a little bit more wiggle. The wiggly wall needed some more wiggle.
How much wiggle can a wiggle wall do with a wiggle wall? Never mind, I don't know how it goes.
Not enough wiggle. You needed more wiggle. The wall needed more wiggle.
One enemy remaining.
And take a look at a couple of kills coming through from Sentinels once again as they take the round. Up 2 now.
And it's been a very confident approach out of the Sentinels players here.
Yes, it has.
Based off of the call that's going on. And I think it's based off of this comp from KRU really not having a lot to... Oh my God.
What do you do with that?
I mean... He pulled out his knife. Things are falling apart. Both sides of the map they're getting kills on. Tens is in.
I'm out of here.
Tens is out of there. Then he's back in. The paranoia to clear the way.
Here.
You see the set of classes waiting on the other side with the flash to try to swing around it. He does.
Okay. Davies with the spam.
And that's 1 kill.
Trailblazer allows them in. The Cascade 2 is really good.
Melser has gotten so far up.
Second Cascade to block it even further.
Wait, but he's going to be past it.
I've got your trail.
And now they're dead. They've invested the Seeker super early. And well, I mean, I guess if you've got it, why not?
Sheesh. I mean, that spam is ridiculous. I've seen in the meta, the only team who's really going for a spam like that is Fnatic by buying up Odins and going for it. But nobody really actually doing something like that from Saucy. That is nasty. Poor Kesnet. Just removed instantly. And I was speaking of the confidence for this team. On these strats and the calls, they're getting both picks on both sides of the map and then instantly pivoting. I mean, they're getting in these sites. They're probably hitting the site faster than they have all season long right now in these first 3 rounds.
Go, go, go.
It is confident. It is decisive.
Look how fast he's up here to Trailblazer. And again, I was also alluding to the fact that it's because the comp doesn't have anything to challenge. And again, Marv gets a kill, but gets traded. Pancata's alone fighting against what looks like 3 players here from KRU. But they cascaded themselves off to get that weapon. But doesn't allow them to follow up on the kill on Pancata.
They got half of what they wanted. They actually just handed the Vandal over to Davies, too. From Klaus's hands to what we imagine.
Davies has the armor here, that's why.
Safer, more secure hands, at least more armored up. You've got Kesnet who's waiting close by up in heaven, but man, what can you really do with just a Vandal? And that's, I mean, there it is. You're finding value. That was gross. It wasn't gross enough to convert to much more. Melser now the only one who remains, and time is short.
Can he get out? Which way are you gonna go?
Don't go that way.
I think it's because the door's closed. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Four in a row for Sentinels. Every single round, they're just having their way with the map. Just running up, trailblazering. I mean, we've seen it on C, we've seen it on A twice now. I mean, good to see Davies, who, by the way, was injured last week. That's why he didn't play. With tendonitis in the elbow, which, I mean, has a major effect on you. I'm surprised to even see him playing in a situation that there's, again, they don't have playoff hopes or anything like that. I'd be just recovering the entire way. But you can tell he's snappy. Maybe he's fully recovered. There he is.
Down 4 rounds late in the first map. Timeout now just starting to expire. That's a full house today, isn't it? I got some banger matches today.
Sentinels now obviously going to pack the crowd, but then NRG Loud later. I mean, a match that everybody's been looking forward to the entire season.
It's a freaking blockbuster, bro.
Holy.
Back to focus on this one. As you were saying, Sentinels have won the last 4 in a row. And they have the potential to perhaps snowball this. You see their money. It's plentiful.
Yeah. I think here, though, the major thing is this is the first time Kessen's going to have money for this op. Somebody dropped it over to him. And he's in position right now where he has to try to find a kill. And this is good, but he misses. He had the position. But now he actually gives up the space for Sassy to just run up and dog like he did before. Walls up a little earlier, though, and also that high tide actually from B-Link. Oh, what is this?
Yeah, they're here very quickly, very aggressively. Zekin got stuck, but Sassy trained right back.
I mean, you see the difference in confidence for both sides. They're just committing to a spray. That's not something that you're going to look for. He's really just looking for the one kill instead of going for more. And that's all he gets. And in fact, loses 2 players because of that decision.
And you can almost see the kill, seeing where the X's are in the minimap. You can almost envision exactly how it went down. Lined up, spam through utility. It doesn't get much easier than that. A quiet pause in the action. Just a temporary one before Sentinels now start to re-explore. They've got Kesnit with the op. We're just saying, 2 traded back.
30 seconds left.
A collat, the spike picked back up, and he saw it go up, but what I don't know if they saw was Marv slipping through right into Kesnit's crosshair.
That right there was everybody playing like Marv, and you could see the call. Let's dry walk. And the thing is, inexperience maybe in situations like that, calling in that instance against an op.
Easy now, that's a shorty on the other side.
He's just dropping down to try to get an orb here.
Yeah,
and some plant money.
Which again, they have an abundance of. It's not like they're broke.
That's a huge round. I mean, Kesnit just shuts it down completely. We're gonna see that double for sure. Because I'm interested who was up in that situation for Sentinels, and did they have any tools to actually play against the op? Did they have a Trailblazer? Probably not. Saucy's been using it early. It was Saucy alive though, and Tens too. So I'm looking to see, in that instance, instead of just going dry, because obviously they had the man advantage, instead of going dry, I'm happy to have an execute go out. I'm happy to see a fast lane out of Tens, and even for him to dash forward. We got this. Melzer ults coming out of, oh my goodness. It's so obvious at this point where you're ulting as Omen when the C hit is coming.
Well, I think it was that, and then also swinging very quickly off of the paranoia. Doesn't leave much room for mystery. Somehow, through all of that, Sentinels are going to manage to get the spike down.
Spike planted.
Somehow, Kessen's found a position to actually use the op here on the flank, but oh! He has knives too!
Barb is close by, Saucy is too. It's 1-for-1 for now. There are the knives, and the knives connect.
He's alive. They're still fighting.
Yep.
That was a great flank from Kessin, and also was fast enough to deny Pancata the space to get out of that ult. And again, in some instances there, you're gonna have a team who's able to say, okay, let's flash, let's go push this waterfall ult. But not this early for a team. And the only player who's running out of the ult from their own side, from their C side, was Pancata. Everybody else is pushing spawn.
Gap reduced to 2 for crew. A little bit of early spam out from Ashedi.
I mean, he's been caught so many times with that.
Yeah, that's bold.
I'm happy to see him go for it still. It's part of your game style. You can't compromise.
At least he's going to attempt not to. He's got a lot of Killjoy utility to help him out here. Alarm bot to cover the flank. And they explode right out onto
Oh,
the
he's vulnerable. He's dead.
The nanos, everything, man. He just gets melted instantly. What a hold from Davies.
Down, C.
I have this. This might be even much sooner than we expected here after that start from Sentinels.
I mean, remember, that was a 4-round lead. We were 10-6 at one point.
I mean, this high tide too. They don't know what's on the other side. Now they know that at least somebody's committed to it. Especially with Kesnet flanking last round, they really don't have the space to go back.
30 seconds left.
Shadows traveling.
Once again, they cut noise and they pause for a moment.
Last player standing.
And it's just another death. Davies has the ace. Potentially on the other side of this. He's going to get a shot at it, but Klaus takes it away. Either way, Crew get to 9. Starting to see smiles out of them, too.
I know, yeah.
They're starting to feel it.
Crew, I mean, anything that they can get is a consolation prize for them. I mean, you don't want to be ending 0-8 or 0-9 in the season. They're playing Cloud9 next week, so this is really their only real chance, I'd say, at breaking that and preventing them to be one of the only teams here. Yeah, Kesnet's just holding the line. Very important job there.
Timeout called from Sentinels. They're still hanging on to a 1-round lead, but man, if Crew come roaring back. 3 in a row to keep this thing competitive, to keep it interesting. And, you know, it's funny, I want to go back because there's actually a lot of, while the rosters were very different, there is a lot of history between these two squads. It was at halftime that we saw the stat, but I want to go back to it. The last time these two teams played, it was Crew who was playing spoiler for Sentinels back in 2021 at Champs, at an elimination game to get out of groups. Crew was the one to take them down. So again, roster's very different, but I mean, Tens was there. And you know that when you, as a competitor, when you get the opportunity to get a little revenge, it's a tantalizing prospect.
I think especially the fans and the org are thinking a lot back to that one-time matchup we had, Sentinels versus Crew, so long ago, but I mean, it was devastating to the org.
Move.
Champions 2021 was after Sentinels was on top of the world.
Yeah.
And after that, they fell hard.
Never really the same after, yeah.
They didn't make a global event the year after.
From Sentinels killers to 0-7, but with an opportunity to do it again. It's a quiet opening to this round. As Sentinels on the other side of this timeout, just patient.
There.
Start to see some of the pings, and if they try to commit to the C again, remember in the previous round it didn't work because of the nanos, because of the mollies, because of all the utility. None of that is here this time. Flash is the first Q. Now you have the wall. Paranoia, everything. This is
much more like the pistol hit that we saw.
Yeah.
And also you could tell no dashing in there because they're so worried about what happened to Tens last time. He got melted. I mean, 3 mollies on top of him.
It's just going to be a 5v5 retake. Kesnick still has the op.
Hit down from Marved.
Ashetti's close to his, but he's still one away. If maybe he gets a spam kill, he can drop his too.
Wow.
They're investing everything into this one. That's now the pit and the lockdown.
And Zekin's got a shorty way up front.
That's Ashetti getting one. That's a pit
Pull the
now
flank.
online. Davies has a chance to rip it open, but Tens actually rips his head open in response.
Cove. The molly actually missed, but the spam is good.
It's just too much.
That pit is down now, but he's going to try to get out, yeah, with the op.
Yeah.
Kessen's already running back waterfall.
Time was way too short.
That was a major misconsideration by Crew to swap the setup out of that timeout. And out of that slow round, just completely not even considering the ults out of Sentinels. The Viper pit and the Killjoy lockdown can absolutely cascade into a free C side and then a free post plant too.
And then honestly, a round win, right? Those are round winning ults that you've got there, and you just saw it. It's a vicious snowball, but now Crew have those 2 exact same tools at their disposal. And they still have the op in the hands of Kesnet.
It's much harder to cycle those two into a round win as the defense, because you have to use them reactively.
Well, Ashedi reacting to the start of the round uses his. And it's back to the same Killjoy utility. Look at it. You've got the alarm bot. You have 2 nanos in case they try to scale past it.
I think you also see them adapting and putting one not only on the spike plant, but the waterfall push, which has been used frequently by Sentinels, both on pistol and in that last round. Meanwhile, this A control has not... Oh, that
didn't see him.
Trailblazer missed entirely.
That flash will confirm.
Looks like Davies is already postured to go for his lockdown. We saw it be such a big impact last time when Kesne got the kill on the flank.
I mean, this is one way to try to disrespect the Harbor utility. But when you have Klaus close by spamming through that wall that's intended to provide cover, it's a difficult situation to navigate. There's that lockdown that you were just mentioning too.
30 seconds.
30 and they're gonna walk right into Klaus. Over and over, he gets 3. And that's a round for Crew.
I mean, Zach was gonna get locked down there too.
Yeah.
Funny enough, Sentinels has still not had to save. This might be the first time they do. We got 3 players less than 3K. Might have just a hero rifle or 2. But it might end up being a tie game because of that.
30 seconds left.
Late round pivot there. You actually saw Zekin get stuck outside of the door, and that cost them another 10 seconds. Which could have been time that they're in the site where they're actually fighting with 10s with that fast lane instead.
It's a save that you mentioned. There's a Guardian for Zekin, a Stinger for Sassy.
Ever since Kesnet's got this up, Sentinels have only won 1 round.
And boy, has Kesnet had value.
And it's been 4 for Crew, so yeah, absolutely has. He's gonna, oh, I mean, this is, yeah, back up now that the neon fingers are out.
Yep. Oh, Pew Pew's going into the smoke, not connecting on anything.
He's really trying to find something right now because that ultimate does expire.
Yeah. You see why they're trying to be pacey around it. Clear the turret.
It's gonna expire right now.
Too.
It's gone.
He's
got no weapon.
He's got nothing left. You're absolutely right.
Reckoning's clearing sight right now. They're looking for spam with no weapons. This is such a hard decision.
I mean, it's got to be off of Zekin, right? It's got to be off of Zekin with the Guardian. The only thing that really has pen.
They can barely break the cove here. They've got to break it.
Either way, Davies
Ollie's
still
on
has
it, though.
I mean, he's tapped on it twice, but that's all it is. Crew take the fight to Sentinels, and Zekin responds. It's just Magana now who tries to get the 1v3, but the defuse comes through. We're knotted up at 11.
Swarm grenade out.
Big tools there used from the Crew side to get that retake. Despite the minimal tools on the Sentinel side, the minimal economy too. There was mollies on the spike there before Zekin and everybody swinging past that wall, but they did get decayed.
Adam looking for a prayer here for Crew to get a win on the board. Again, 0-7, a disastrous season for them, but the opportunity to play spoiler once more.
By the way, Sentinels winning maps is so important when they end up in a tiebreak situation. And even when they win 2 maps, or 2 series, if they do that, which is such a hard task, they have to get through tiebreaks.
I mean, you're looking to get through the rest of the season unscathed and then just hope things fall your way. (11-11) late in this opening map, this best of 3. Zekin not getting hit by the flash. That was not far enough. In fact, it flashed his teammates. Davies never saw what hit him.
That was really missed time on that wall dropping. And looking for the flash through the wall as it falls. And the flash was so shallow they didn't even catch anybody. So Zekin easily punishes, and I think they call it cancel way late. So now Sentinels with the advantage. I mean, obviously Crew,
30 seconds left.
in a lot of these situations, they'll look like they're the worst because of the minimal map wins that they have, but they're not good in 4v5s.
They're not, I mean, they're not going to 5v4s either. I don't know that they're going to fare much better in 3v5s, but I suppose they're going to have to take a shot at it. Testing it still with the op. So much value's been had, and man, I mean, even if things go sideways, he gets his. The wall, oh, but he pushes aggressive. Ashadi's a lunatic. And 10 still gets the kill. This is the call to save, I imagine.
Gotta be. Nobody pushing upstairs here. Tens is just exploring, seeing if he's still staying. They're looking for, oh my goodness.
Is he gonna go one more? That's the up.
I'm looking at the economy. He could get another one.
Point.
At the cost of someone else not having much though, yeah?
He's not even going for it though. Instead, just insta-vandal. You saw it there on your screen.
Yeah.
I mean, those early 2 kills
Take it.
out of the Sentinels players, really nice. But also mistakes from Crew. And this is where they've struggled. I mean, they have made a lot of close maps. It's not like they're the worst team in round differential, surprisingly. They've had a lot of close maps.
Here.
And it's another one that they find themselves in. Sentinels have taken some of this early space for Zay. For now, it's Kesnet dashing around, jumping through, trying to stay alive and avoid the spam. It's Kesnet, I mean, he's by himself. He backs on up. Perhaps looking to draw out some utility, maybe a flash or something along those lines. Seconds left here again. He's flashed. He's dead.
My goodness. They're pivoting all towards B. Remember that round where they walked in and got shut out? This time the tools aren't there, but Tens gets spammed so hard. Oh! What? He's full stunned.
It's a 5v3 now. It's turned into a 5v2. Crew looking to send us to overtime. Perhaps doing so in flawless fashion. This Makata ruins that, spoils that, but they still get theirs. 24 rounds, not enough, Bala.
Switching sides. Overtime.
You know, I was excited for this match for many different reasons. But a close match is not what I was not expecting it. I was expecting one of these teams to just be flat, the other one to be okay, and we'd move on. But now here we are. Unbelievable.
I think there were two possible scenarios to play out on this series. Either one team was going to get blown out.
Yeah.
I mean, 13-3, 13-3, 2-0, or we're going to have triple map, quadruple OT, Gigabanger classic that goes into the history books.
No, come on, man.
I'm telling you, man. 6-6 half, now 12-12. Just saying, this could be good. It's been good so far, and we're far from done.
Big point of contention when you look at OT rounds. They're all gun rounds. So we look at the stats, and Crew was 10-6 in those gun rounds. So that's the team I favor going into this, despite how Sentinels have been in the lead the entire time.
If you stretch that out across the entire season, both Crew and Sentinels have the worst full buy win round percentages of the entire league. With those stats in mind, it's tough to say how it's going to go.
Here.
You see panel's already been broken.
Ten's just got some information there. Saw 2 players. Sasi will confirm with the flash too. But it does give up both of their positions. Zekin's the one who's unknown right now. He goes for the one-way on top of the revolving door. Crew has frequently been pivoting towards the B side, and you already see Pancata pivoting over there, Tens as well.
Blocking fire. Got the
And they're not looking for it this time. They're going to flash through.
30 seconds left.
Dash through.
Sassy's here. He goes unchecked. That's the first one falling. The second one, and the spike follows suit. Now Seeker's invested, dancing around the stun.
Zekin got 2 out of nowhere, too.
Yeah. Davies left in an impossible situation. 5 targets, 5 bullets. But the spike nowhere near. Reach.
Switching sides. Match point.
This is ridiculous. I mean, Crew just can't get the lead no matter what.
No.
Also delete my...
Lost both pistols. And now when it matters most, losing that first round of OT. I mean, both sides were so even, so it's not like even there's a advantage on either side.
Yeah.
Time for a field test.
It's a beautiful scenery on the site. Very nice, very lovely. Back into the action we go. Sentinels, map point in this opening best of 3. Now they're the ones who get to dictate the pace. They're going back into what potentially could be Davies' kill setup again. Remember how oppressive this was. But this time, as soon as the wall goes up, you see some of the utility used. I don't think Sentinels ever really intended to go that way. They clear the alarm bot, and they get a molly out.
Running back to the old faithful C-hit here. The dog, the flash from Zekin. And Tens goes the other way. This is nice.
And he's the only one up. Tens is doing this on his own. Now they follow suit. But the site has been cracked wide open. Very well could be the finishing touches on this opening map. Klaus, Melser, and Kesnet with much to do just to extend it. Ten's getting tagged a little early. But Spike ticking away. Time is of the essence, and the Shorty's not going to do much from that distance. The Vandal's not either, but Klaus does. It's a 1v3, swings around the corner and stares his way into the second map. Sentinels take map 1.
A close affair. Been able to convert on so many of the tactical rounds, the 2 pistols. And then out of timeouts, everything like that. I was really expecting this map to be a lot more scrappy, this match, this series to be really, really chaotic. Given that there's a new IGL on this side, given that you really can't prep on either side for either team. And we actually get a pretty strategic game out of Sentinels. Not much depth in the strat book, but man, they were hammering on the C-hit so well.
And I think in that, again, we talked about it in the round, but that last round was so indicative of some of the minor adjustments that they were making. They learned from the fact that they could not just easily exec onto C because they were just going to get melted. So they're a bit more timid in their approach. They draw out some of the utility that had been problematic in the past, and it ends in a round win.
You saw early on in that game, Sentinels was going super fast. I mentioned, wow, they're really confident in their approach. They're going on these sites like instantly. And then as the game progressed, slower and slower and slower. Well done.
A bit more methodical. Tens popped off. Zekin, I'm pretty sure top fragged, by the way, as the controller. So he is going to be in the conversation for one of the best controllers in the world. Either way, Sentinels take map 1, the break, and then bind on the other side. We'll be right back.
What is this from EA? He is currently unstoppable. He is just a consistent demon. El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's EA. Welcome to my course on optimal Valorant training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing. I'll slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.